This show is produced by the Hartman Media Company. For more information and links to all our great podcasts, visit hartmanmedia.com.
Speakers, publishers, consultants, coaches, and info marketers unite. The Speaking of Wealth Show is your roadmap to success and significance. Learn the latest tools, technologies, and tactics to get more bookings, sell more products, and attract more clients. If you're looking to increase your direct response sales, create a big-time personal brand, and become the go-to guru, the Speaking of Wealth Show is for you. Here's your host, Jason Hartman.
It's my pleasure to welcome Geoff Cook. He is co-founder and CEO of MeetMe and the Meet Group. That's a NASDAQ stock, and the symbol is MEET. Social dating and live streaming company with a 400 million plus market cap, doing some interesting things in the space to take it to the next level. Geoff, welcome. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me.
Good. Where are you located?
We are in New Hope, Pennsylvania. I live in Princeton, but I don't know if you know New Hope too well. It's a little town on the Delaware River.
Good stuff. There's a lot going on, and has been a lot going on for years in using the internet to connect people. A lot of social media companies out there, a lot of even more dating apps out there. What are you doing in the space, and kind of what's different? Where is this going?
Sure. So we have about 4.5 million users that log into our apps every day, and a little over 15 million every month. And so we have a portfolio of social dating meeting apps. And what we're doing, I think that's different, and because I think you're right, it's a very crowded space. But I think what we're doing that's different, and we haven't seen others do it, at least not yet, is live streaming video and really combining that with dating. And what I mean by live streaming video is you're broadcasting out to either one or many people at any given time. And when we added this to our product when we first added it, we started working on it in late 2016 and started rolling it out all throughout 2017. And when we started monetizing it, which was really only Q4 of 17, we grew from zero of revenue from live streaming to 80 plus million in the span of about 16 months. And that revenue growth, of course, was great to see. But the reason it was coming was because our users really adopted it, and they were really engaging with the platform. And I think live streaming video is just one of the reasons I think it works so well in dating, is because dating users have come to expect all the apps to be more or less the same. They're all flat profiles. The question is, well, is this person even authentic? Is this a picture taken yesterday or 10 years ago? Is this even the person in question? It's hard to fake video. Video also gives you glimpses of personality that you don't get any other way.
Yeah, and it's interesting because oddly, years ago, I remember those old-fashioned dating companies and seeing sitcoms depicting like someone would go in and make a video, and people would go into an office. I don't even know what those were called. Those, way back in like the 80s. But I remember hearing about those companies, and you'd go in and make like a little intro video, and then it was or still is used in job interviews or job applications and things like that. So it's odd to me, actually. This seems so obvious. All the big social media companies are using live stream, Facebook, Instagram. Why doesn't Match.com, Tinder, why don't all the rest of them use video? That's kind of actually seems like such an obvious thing.
Where it came from, where we first got the idea from it, was actually from China. So if you go to China,
I just got back from China, interestingly.
Oh, really? Yeah. So we were in China in 2016. I've of course been there since, but we noticed kind of the rise of live streaming while I was in Beijing and Shanghai. And there's these big, very, very large live streaming companies. If you're looking for ground zero kind of in the live streaming market, you have to go to Beijing, because you have YY, Yizhibo, Inca, Momo, you have all of these, and that's just to name a few. And these are all multi-billion-dollar, massive companies that pour, enormous amounts of R&D. And we noticed kind of this trend coming from China. And we said, look, let's see if it works for our audience, because we knew that our app was kind of like the Momo app in many different ways before it added video. And we said, well, maybe it'll work for us too. And it did, is the short answer. As far as like why isn't others like Match Group and Tinder, so forth, getting into it, I think what I've found about live streaming video is that it's an all-in bet, right? So like you have to bet the whole company to pull off a live streaming video platform. And the reason is because you have to have hundreds of moderators. You have to have good AI trying to find untoward content you don't want. You have to build the whole platform to begin with. You have to have good bandwidth and keep your costs down on the streaming aspect. And then you have to monetize it all. It's a pretty significant project. It's not the sort of thing you put one or two development teams on. We have 17 of our 21 teams on our live streaming solution. And so unless you're willing to put 200 engineers on it, it's not the sort of thing that you dabble in.
Okay, so, the world of, it's so funny because when it started, there was like this little bit of stigma attached to online dating. But now, so many of my married friends met online, a huge percentage. It's just the way people meet nowadays. I say it might almost be mostly if it's not an online dating app, but maybe just a general social media platform like Facebook. And Zuckerberg actually said he was going to aim Facebook in the direction of making it more of a dating platform. I remember him saying that a while ago. I don't know that anything's happened. But people are definitely craving connection. Everybody's so busy. They're finding it hard to meet in the offline world, obviously, with all of its stuff. Kind of where is it going? Where do you see the future of all of this stuff? And specifically, virtual reality and augmented reality being the next evolution of video?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I think if you look at where it's coming, we obviously think it's going to get more and more authentic. Like some of the trends in dating today, you have companies like Hinge and you have companies like Bumble. Hinge is owned by Match and Bumble basically owned by a Russian Badoo. And you have these brands that are all about kind of increasing what's shared on the profile and trying to get more interesting data out of a user to make the profiles richer. Like I think a couple of years ago, profiles could just be a collection of photos and some facts. And now they're trying to get some more personality to them. I kind of view that as almost of a piece with video is also part of that. It's like, how do you get a better glimpse of somebody through, whatever their digital manifestation is? And so I think you'll see more of that as it relates to video in particular. One of the drawbacks of video is this from somebody deep into video is that not everyone wants to broadcast, right? So many more people will want to view a video than want to broadcast.
Right.
So
Okay.
if you're looking for mass appeal, another maybe crasser way of putting it is, like a lot of these multi-billion or even multi-$100 billion companies get their value out of monetizing minutes that were normally not monetizable. Like you are on the toilet and now you can check your Facebook or your Tinder. Video is not the sort of thing you can do on a toilet, right?
I guess you can, but maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah. Like some people feel the need to get made up for. Obviously people come in this in different ways.
Okay, so how do you solve the problem? I get the problem. What do you do?
I think you come at it with formats that don't require you to only be one-on-one. So we do have a one-on-one product in the works, but when we addressed video, we started with a one-to-many, just because of this dynamic that more people would rather view. We actually hope that more and more people will want to stream. In any given day, we have about 130,000 streamers and maybe 900,000 or so viewers. We'd like to see, ever more streamers show up. Now, you asked about VR, AR. AR is already here. We're deep on inside of the video stream. What we're working on right now is, so if you make a heart gesture with your hands, you can imagine hearts emitting from your hands, and it looks like you have almost a superpower. If you put a thumb up, maybe your thumb catches on fire. So picking out these gestures, if you put both eyes up, some effect happens. Gesture-based AR is already kind of here. On the VR side, I find that really interesting. I've worn an Oculus goggle. I've demoed sitting in a room across from someone as if on a virtual date. The problem with it right now is just adoption, right? It's still relatively small. You need a lot of female adoption, frankly, in order to make a dating app on VR work.
Okay, so yeah, the females need to adopt it for it to work on both sides of the equation, as you mentioned. So the one-to-many video streaming, but that's just like Facebook, right? Or is what makes it work is the fact that people are specifically there for dating purposes versus general social media or business? Most of the stuff you see on Facebook is really business related, it seems like.
So I think that's right. I mean, of course, Facebook does have live streaming, Instagram, others. I think that the difference is, and the way I like to think of it is that people have multifaceted personalities, and they use brands to express different aspects of their personality. So you might be your professional self on LinkedIn and post all this stuff that has to do with your conferences or your podcast
Sure.
or what have you. And on Facebook, at least if you use it like me, you're posting pictures that you maybe want your family to see, my children, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
On Tinder, owned by Match, or on the Meet group suite of apps, you're posting your kind of bar, your coffee house, your more maybe outgoing personality. Mm-hmm. And you don't typically want these things to mix, right? So Facebook tends to get in a lot of trouble whenever there is some kind of mixing, when there is some sharing that's kind of unanticipated, that doesn't feel natural. And so I think that's really what it comes down to. So it's easier for people to say, I'm going to share this aspect of me with this brand, as opposed to have to worry about what their privacy settings are for every post.
Yeah, right. Good point. The future of all this stuff is pretty interesting. The market is huge. Anything you want to speak to as far as the demographics or just general trends or data? The OkCupid guys, I know, really mined the data a lot of the singles world and the dating world and all of this stuff. It doesn't seem like anybody ever did much with that before, until I've read articles about them in various business magazines. Just what else do you want people to know? Maybe a question I haven't asked you.
I think on the data side, we certainly look at everything you could probably measure. We've been surprised that the live streaming, the broadcasting of live streaming, well, we wish everyone would want to do it more, I think. 18 to 34 is just a pretty solid age to live stream. And that's surprising to us, because if you compare 18 to 24 to 25 to 34, those people live stream at roughly the same rate. And you might think live streaming is a young person's sport, right? Mm-hmm. And it's really not. So viewers tend to go across the spectrum, but the live streaming is really an 18 to 34 phenomenon. And once you get above 35, it does tend to diminish your likelihood to live stream. But there's a lot of people live streaming who are 30, and these streamers are, getting really, really big followings.
Interesting. Very interesting stuff. Give out whichever website you'd like. Tell people where they can learn more and wrap it up for us.
If you'd like to learn more, you could download any of our apps. One in particular I'd probably say to start with is MeetMe, and you could find it at meetme.com, or just type in MeetMe on App Store or Play Store.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. Be sure to check out the show's specific website and our general website, hartmanmedia.com, for appropriate disclaimers and terms of service. Remember that guest opinions are their own, and if you require specific legal or tax advice or advice in any other specialized area, please consult an appropriate professional. And we also very much appreciate you reviewing the show. Please go to iTunes or Stitcher Radio or whatever platform you're using and write a review for the show. We would very much appreciate that. And be sure to make it official and subscribe so you do not miss any episodes. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.